In this video, we'll be going over facts from vanilla WoW, in which I'll give you a prompt, and then you'll have 3 seconds to decide whether it's a true fact or false. Pretty simple rules. Now let's get started. The Undead starting zone was the last zone to be added to the game.
I have no idea. Like, fact.
Fact. They worked on the Undead areas last,
Hey!
as they're basically just human buildings made to look old. So it didn't take them very long when compared to all the other zones, which required custom architecture.
I knew that.
Druids were originally meant to be constantly swapping forms in battle, and that's why some of their talents, abilities, and gear worked towards all the different animal shapeshifts.
I think so? Maybe not. Like, I think so, yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
This was the intention anyway, but the fact that designers put so much mana costs on shapeshifting dissuaded players from actually doing any
Look
of
at that
this.
maximum damage right there.
The infamous stun rogues in vanilla WoW were possible because there was no DRs on stuns, and they could do a whole bunch of tricks in order to infinitely chain cheap shot and kidney shot.
That's true.
To stun someone long enough until they died without ever being able to fight back.
That's true.
Crap. There were absolutely DRs on stuns in vanilla WoW. The DRs just weren't as strict as they are today, and were separated into a lot more categories. So cheap shot and kidney shot had their own separate DR categories, and you could stun someone for 10 seconds with the combo. But you could not reset that combo and then do it again immediately after, as you have cheap shot and kidney shots on their own DRs now. And in actuality, the infamous stun rogue combo from the famous video World of Roguecraft
there it is.
was done in large part because of blind being resettable, and had very little to do with stuns.
Oh, come on.
During vanilla WoW, Forsaken were immune to fear, sleep, and charm effects, but this was so overpowered that they eventually nerfed it in patch 1.6 into a cooldown called Will of the Forsaken, which made them immune to those 3 schools of CC for 20 seconds, instead of permanently.
Like, I genuinely don't know the answer to that.
Crap. During parts of beta WoW, Forsaken retreated as undead, and thus immune to those 3 schools of CC.
Okay, so I've gotten all of them right except
for one. On the launch of WoW, they were given Will the Forsaken with the 20 seconds of immunity, which was then nerfed to 5 seconds of immunity in patch 1.6, which, by the way, was still overpowered at 5 seconds, and eventually nerfed to no seconds of immunity, and instead the ability just removed the current effects you had, which is still how it works today. Killing normal, level-appropriate mobs was so difficult in vanilla WoW that it could take you an average of 20 to 30 seconds just to kill one of them.
No? Fuck no!
Fact. During low levels, it could take you anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds to kill one normal, non-elite mob. And fighting 2 at once was basically a death sentence, and required you to run away or use CC. Not every class had an AoE, and not all classes were even good at AoE if they did have one. So killing mobs in vanilla WoW was all about optimizing your single target damage for a large part of your leveling.
No, dude.
Blizzard would often make the final boss of the dungeon more difficult by having it being a higher level than everything else in the dungeon.
This is true.
That way, you would miss more often, and your tanks would have a chance at taking crushing blows.
900% true.
Fact. This was also the case for a lot of leveling mobs that were mini-bosses at the end of some quest chains. Instead of making a mob that had higher stats and health than a normal mob, they would just make it a higher level than the zone.
Alright boys, I've gotten every single one right except one.
Making it much more difficult to hit, and meaning you took crushing blows. There was one more range spec in vanilla WoW than we have today in BFA.
Well, yeah, survival hunters.
Fact. Since vanilla WoW, we've actually lost a range spec, as all the added classes to the game have been melee classes, and survival hunters were changed from a range spec into a melee spec in Legion. The last class to be added to the game was the Paladin, and that's why they had no damaging moves besides Judgment, because the designers just ran out of time.
I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think that's true. I think it's false.
Crap. Hunters were actually the last class added. Paladins actually had a whole bunch of damaging moves in the beta of WoW, but they were just cut right before the game went live for an unknown reason. And a lot of those damaging moves that were in the beta, but then cut before Vanilla WoW came out, were slowly added back to the Paladin class over time throughout the years.
They removed those abilities.
Druids didn't have a normal resurrection spell, and the only way they could res a dead player was with their battle res ability, which had a 30-minute cooldown. Fact, Druids only had a battle resurrection. They weren't given a normal out-of-combat res until Wrath of the Lich King. When a shaman revived itself with its reincarnation ability, they would revive with resurrection sickness.
I don't think that's true. I don't remember that being the case.
Fact.
Really?
Reincarnation used to give shamans resurrection sickness.
What the fuck? Really?
This was changed pretty early on towards the middle point of Vanilla WoW. So this is kind of a trick question. Since for about a half of Vanilla WoW, it did give resurrection sickness, and for the other half, it didn't.
So alright, I'm right.
Killing critters in Vanilla WoW used to award a small amount of experience,
I tried
no matter what your level was.
I tried this when I was level 1. I tried killing critters, it gave nothing.
Crap. Critters have never given any experience for kills.
No.
The rogue ability Cheap Shot is the only ability in the game that still works exactly the same way as it did in Vanilla WoW.
That's crap. That's not true.
Fact. It has always stunned for 4 seconds and granted 2 combo points.
Stealth
the first person hired to work on quests in Vanilla WoW full-time was...
That's not true, I don't think. That's... No, there's no way that's true, dude. Like stealth.
That's true.
No, it's not. Like hamstring is another one. Well, I guess hamstring is the same thing. Let's see. What are other ones? Blink. Well, I guess blink you can move now in a way. Blizzard. Flame strike. Hamstring. Hamstring was changed. War stomp. Yeah. Let's see. Any healing spell like Holy Light works exactly the same as it did in Vanilla WoW. Like, that's a good point. Yeah, healing spells. That's... Stealth used to slow you down. Well, yeah, that's true. But that's like... So, the difference there is the ability changes your state from being visible to being in stealth. Now, the stealth state is not necessarily... It might be an outcome of the ability, but is not necessarily the ability itself. So those two things are actually different. Look. Nobody is nobody is ever going to pin me down on anything. Yes, I am a god at mental gymnastics. You're never going to pin me down. I don't think that's true. There are multiple abilities that function the same way that they did in Vanilla WoW. Let me see if there are any warrior abilities. Intimidating Shout works the exact same way.
What? No, it doesn't, you fucking idiot.
How does it not work the same way?
Intim Shout has a fucking target cap. It didn't used to have a target cap, right?
Yeah, but it didn't have a target cap for all of Vanilla. Or sorry, it did have a target cap for part of Vanilla too.
It's changed, though. I mean, it's different. That's my point. It's not the same.
Well, it hasn't changed since Vanilla. Since Vanilla could be the day before TBC came out. Because all abilities were changed probably at some point during Vanilla.
I mean, a fear is still a fear, but it did change.
Yes, but that wasn't part of the question. Like, let's relook at the question here.
Okay.
The one ability in the game that still works exactly the same way as it did in Vanilla WoW. It does not say in any points that it was not changed during Vanilla WoW. So if it worked in any sort of a fashion during Vanilla WoW, then it would be criteria for it to still be working the same way as in BFA, therefore a correct answer to the question.
But it hasn't changed at all, though. Like, it still stuns for 4 seconds. Like, it costs the same amount of energy, right? Like, literally nothing about it has changed. Whereas these other abilities have changed.
What about Holy Light?
Whether it's like a... I'm not sure. I have to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, what about Flash of Light? I mean,
I think Flash of Light. I don't even know. I don't play Holy anymore.
yeah, it costs a different mana.
Oh, that's true. It does cost different mana and heals for a different amount. Ooh, chat's got you there, dude.
Okay.
They got you on that one.
Okay. Portal to Stormwind.
Different mana cost.
Does it have a mana cost?
Maybe. I have no idea. Oh, portals used to require reagents.
You got
right?
me there.
No.
You got me there. Okay. Let me think. Let me go through all the different abilities. I mean, if you want to use mana cost as like part of it, like I don't think that would work at all. Let me log off. I'm gonna look at every character just so I have them in my head and I can see them. Feign Death. Auto attack. Well, that's not auto attack. Taunt has been changed. Shadow Meld is not an ability in the same way. It's a racial. So I wouldn't count that either. Let's see. So for my warrior, for warlocks. What about warlocks? There's no way. Like I can almost guarantee there's got to be at least some ability that still works the same as it did in vanilla WoW. Like I can't believe that that's the only ability. Like I just can't believe that. What about Summon Pet from Hunters? Yeah, I think Summon Pet has been changed too. It used to have a mana cost? Did it really?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think they got you on this one.
I can't admit defeat here until I look at every item.
Oh God.
So you're considering mana cost a component, right, of a change? Like, because I don't think that it really is, but if you want to consider that, okay. Yes, it's a change. Okay, let's see, what about Priest? Shit. I think I could be wrong here. Okay, I'm just thinking here.
Holy shit! Don't admit that. They're gonna clip it, dude.
Oh, I'm still amazed.
I think the best damage control you can do right now is just to move on and pretend like.
Well, no, I'm
15 minutes.
I don't think that it's. Cheap Shot DR has changed. Has it? Cheap Shot used to be 60 energy. No, I believe that's the level that you. Wait, what? Wait, yeah. How was it 60 energy before? Well, yeah. Never mind. So no, it has been changed. No, I'm wrong. I'm right. Because this disability has been changed. You used to get it at level 26.
It's
and
levels, man.
29.
It's levels. It's levels.
No, because it's rank 1.
It's levels. Ranks of the skill, dude.
Well, no, if you first got it at level 26, if you first got it at level 26, and now you get it at level 29, that is a change.
Bro.
How is that not a change? If you want to use fucking mana as an example of a change, you can't say that getting it at a higher level isn't a change.
It's a different rank of the skill, dude. At level 60,
well, that means that it works differently.
That's not different. It's fucking, you're leveling up to the max fucking level.
Yeah, but does Cheap Shot work exactly the same as it did in vanilla?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't, because you don't get it at level 26, and the energy cost is
different. That's not a change of the ability. That's just placing the ability at a different level. That's not changing the ability itself.
It depends on how you define change.
Oh, God.
No. If you want to say mana is a change, right? Which every ability costed mana. I'm not going to let you say that giving it a different level is more or less of a change than having a equivalent mana cost at a higher level. That's bullshit. Because if you use that example, then you can say that all of these are completely changed because they had spell ranks.
Spell ranks are not the same thing as switching a different level for the ability to get learned.
Well, what I'm saying is that no, but the question is very broad. It says that there was no change, and there was a change.
Listen to what he says again in the video.
Okay.
The rogue ability Cheap Shot is the only ability in the game that still works exactly the same way as it did in vanilla WoW. Fact. It has always stunned for 4 seconds and granted 2 combo points. The first...
But that's not the only component of an ability. Like, oh yeah, that's not the only component. Like, guys, I don't feel like I'm wrong. I don't. You used to, yeah, didn't you used to have to be behind the target? Is that actually true? I don't even know if that's true or not. Well, yeah, I'm not going to take the loss. I don't think that's true at all. It's been changed. If you want to use mana costs and all that other stuff as an example of a change, I would say other stuff is too. Yeah. I'm not gonna. I will not admit that I'm wrong there. No. It's just a second here. Where's the F? Are we good? Okay, yeah, we're fine. Hamstring didn't change much. Let me see. Hamstring. Where is hamstring? Well, and then you can just say it did different damage, so I don't think that's really going to count either. Pummel did change. It used to be on the GCD, and it got taken off the GCD in Wrath. Okay, we're fine. Mana costs affect gameplay when you get the ability, doesn't? Well, of course mana costs affect gameplay, but whenever the mana costs are they're similar across levels, the gameplay is the same even though the numbers are different, right? If it's taking up, like, look, I think there are other abilities that have worked the same way the whole time, okay? He is right on a lot of these examples, but I feel like there's got to be a couple of other ones. Extra combo point and chance to hit. Yeah, what about Piercing Howl? Let me look at Piercing Howl. Maybe it had a different range. Yeah, I think actually it did. They changed Cheap Shot in 3.8. It's not. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is like, because you can't see. Here's the problem: is that there's no way it's not defined. Like, what do you define as a change? What do you define as like works exactly the same way? I would say that Holy Light works exactly the same way as it did in vanilla WoW. I absolutely. But if you don't want to say that, that's fine. Let's just keep moving on. I do not think that I'm wrong, though. I don't. And nobody in here has convinced me either. I will not admit that I'm wrong. I do not think that I'm wrong.
It has always stunned for 4 seconds and granted 2 combo points. The first person hired to work on quests in vanilla WoW full-time was named Pat Nagel.
It's false. There's no way that's true.
Fact.
What?
One of the very first quest designers was Pat Nagel, and his name may be familiar to you.
What?
As there is a very famous fishing trainer in WoW called Nat Pagel. There's a Hearthstone card of it. There's lots of references to it in game. He appears in multiple different expansions. In fact, Nat Pagel is almost synonymous with fishing in World of Warcraft. Turns out his name was just a homage to Pat Nagel, the very first quest designer.
Okay.
The Ironforge airfield which was an airport hidden in a secret location in the dwarf starting zone, only accessible by lots of complicated wall hopping, was a scrapped area in Vanilla WoW that was meant to be a questing hub.
False. I don't know. I don't know the answer to this. I really don't.
Crap.
Yes!
The Iron Forge airfield, one of the most famous secret areas in Vanilla WoW, was actually designed just to have something to look at on flight paths. In fact, there were lots of things put in high, out-of-the-way locations that were there just to have something pretty to look at while on your flight path. Because flight paths in Vanilla WoW were a new thing. No other MMOs at the time had something similar. It was like one of the things World of Warcraft had pioneered. So they wanted their flight paths to look good.
Okay.
There was meant to be a Naga raid in Vanilla WoW, and that's why there was an underwater dark portal placeholder off the coast of Ajara in the beta versions of WoW.
I'm gonna go with false, but I don't know about this.
Crap. Turns out Blizzard was just experimenting with places to put the dark portal.
Yep.
And that's why in the beta there were dark portal placeholders in a whole bunch of random locations throughout the world. Despite the fact that the dark portal had a very specific location and lore, they were kind of loose with the lore when developing Vanilla WoW. And Chris Metzen himself, the guy who created most of WoW lore, was playing around with new ideas for where the dark portal could be located. So, underwater off the coast of Ajara was one of those places he had in mind, and that's why the placeholder was there.
Wow.
It actually had nothing to do with an underwater Naga raid. The very first battleground worked on by Blizzard was Warson Gulch.
I'm gonna go with true.
Crap.
I did this all the time in school, dude. It's like, you guys ever put like C 3 times in a row, and even though you think the answer is C on the 4th time, you put B? Like, I didn't think that was true. Like, I put that on there just because I was like, you know what? I've gotten a lot of other ones wrong. Or I've guessed a lot of other ones. It's been false. I don't know about this one, so I just guessed. Okay, yeah, alright, it's false.
First battleground worked on was Alterac Valley. When they finally added battlegrounds to the game, they added Warson Gulch and Alterac Valley together. So many people assume Warson Gulch was just the first one they worked on. But it doesn't really matter which one was worked on first, as they both released at the same time.
Okay.
The first raid ever worked on was Karazhan.
No, I think it was like Onyxia's Lair or Molten Core.
The very first raid that the internal dev team worked on was Karazhan. Despite the fact that the very first raid that came out was Molten Core. And also, despite the fact that Karazhan didn't release until the first expansion pack in the Burning Crusade. Karazhan was kind of the testing grounds for them when they were trying to design what a raid should be like in WoW.
Holy shit.
And exists in all of the earliest beta and alpha clients of WoW. Also, a fun fact, Molten Core was created in a week
before, right?
The profession of fishing was added to the game to give gold farmers a way to make gold without messing with other players.
That seems like false, but I don't know. I don't know.
Crap.
Yeah,
fishing was just one of the professions they were
There's no way that could be true
at.
if you needed it for alchemy.
Relation to gold farmers, Blizzard was so paranoid that gold farmers would exploit fishing that they added the little mini game to it where you have to click on the bobber when it moves in order to catch a fish. Alright, and that's the end of the video.
Easy.
All in all, there were 18 questions in total. I would have liked to have made it an even 20, but I had a hard enough time just creating 18 for this video. There's a reason I don't do too many videos like this. Creating questions for these videos is actually quite difficult. But if you watched a lot of my videos in the past, you should have been able to answer all of these questions pretty easily, except for maybe some of the development questions. Those ones are kinda hard. If you want to watch the videos I made that go over the WoW Diary, a book that has tons and tons of info about what went into the development of WoW, I'll try to link those at the end of this video as like an end card. And also, let me know how many questions you got correct down in the comments, because I highly doubt anyone got all 18 correct.
Yeah, I don't know, like, that was really difficult. I mean, yeah, I passed, sure, but, like, I'm surprised there are so many of those, like, weird questions about development stuff. Like, I don't really know a lot about that, right? Like, I mean, let's say I was wrong about the ability one, right? that was like the only one that, at least that was like something that was in game. Like, when did something get developed in the game? I don't know, right? But besides that, like, I don't know. Let's say, well, no, I don't think that I was wrong. Like, I can literally talk about this for 3 hours, okay? Like, if you want to get into, like, which abilities work the same way, I mean, there's other abilities that are, like, kind of, like, meta abilities that I basically work the same way, too. I'm pretty sure I'd have to think about them. Like, auto attack is an ability, right? It is a triggered ability. How do you define ability? Like, this is, I'm telling you guys, like, I can waste the entire rest of the stream talking about this. I really can. And why? I don't know why. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I can do that. And I can guarantee you, by the end of it, you will say that I'm right, not even because you agree with me, but you just want me to shut the fuck up. And that's what I'll do. I've done it many times before. I will do it again. And that's always how I've been, okay, man? I'm sorry to say, but that's just, it's what I'm about.